Well, guys, it's Frank. I'm back after what is it, about 3 months, something like that, of the Metaphysical Corner. It's episode 4 or 5. I have to apologize for the absence and delay. We got very involved with the pagan prides and doing shows. So now that it's the middle of November, we're back into more normal mode. Though we do have a couple more things coming up. Me and my supporting cast. This is Miss Princess and Gabriel and Buddy. Yeah, yeah. I know. I love you too. Yeah, they're wannabe stars. Um, I remember at the end of the last show, that we did. I asked you to think about the equation E equals mc squared. And the only thing I really want, I just asked you to think about it and what it means and what it says. It's one of the most simple equations that ever existed, and quite possibly the most important. The E stands for energy, of course, and there they go. E stands for energy, M stands for mass, and C stands for the speed of light. The C squared means you take the amount of no, we didn't have an earthquake. The C stands for the speed of light, and if you square that, let's put it this way, you get an incredibly large number. And you multiply that times the mass, and that is the amount of energy that is contained in that amount of mass. Now, to put it in perspective, I read once where they said if you take a match when you light it, if you could convert that via the equation equals mc squared, and you converted that match into total energy. I mean, it's gone. Every last bit of it is converted to energy. You could take Mount Everest and send it past Pluto. I know that sounds mind-blowing, but it is absolutely true. That is the amount of energy that's contained in all mass. So it gives you, now you understand why energy is the currency of the universe, so to speak. And it just gives you a perspective on it. Now, I want to just talk a little bit about metaphysics itself. What it is, what it isn't, maybe more importantly, what it isn't. It is, it's a science. It's one of the oldest ones, actually. But you got to look at the term metaphysics. Physics is a science in itself. Meta means above and beyond. It tries to explain the things about reality that normal physics cannot or has no interest in. So I came up with this, and can you look at? I hope this shows. I'll move over, and you can see there are many different sciences. There are actually more than this. This is just a short list. Hon, could you look and see if that is in the frame? Mm-hmm. I want to. Okay. As far as all the sciences go, a lot of these everyone knows. Geology, study of ology. By the way, ology means study of. A lot of people don't know that. Geology is study of the earth, and there's meteorology, study of weather. Zoology is study of animals, basically. But as far as what we're concerned about with metaphysics, there's physics itself. And under there, as you can see, I have written. Do you need to zoom in on it or no? Is it plainly seen?
There.
Okay. There's what they call classical mechanics, and other divisions are thermodynamics. Probably the most important one today, electronics. Electronics is considered to be under physics itself. Quantum physics, optics and light, and nuclear physics. Chemistry, you have organic, inorganic, analytical, physical, and biochemistry. Now, there is a lot of interplay between these. These are not all standalone. Matter of fact, none of these standalone by itself. And for example, notice under biology, I didn't write anything. Because there's so many subdivisions of biology, I could have filled this by itself. But notice, biochemistry, which is something you're very concerned with. Because biochemistry is you, totally. Just open up a biochemistry book and you'll find out. It's a cross between chemistry and biology. Now, as far as math goes, math is a language of the sciences, of course. And I know most people have, like I said, the equation equals mc squared. That's the only math equation you'll ever see from me. But I've worked on many of these, and basically in order. And the funny thing is, math is probably the most hierarchical science. Well, it's not really a science, but the division of knowledge. You got arithmetic, which is basically grammar school, algebra, geometry, trig, statistics, calculus, linear algebra, differential equations, topology, and modern algebra. And this is basically in order of difficulty. And one is built right on top of the other. Try doing algebra without knowing arithmetic. Try doing geometry without knowing algebra. Calculus is really not, calculus gets a bad rap. Calculus is, people say it's so difficult. The concepts behind it are not difficult. What's difficult is the algebra. The algebra gets incredibly complex. Linear algebra is totally different. Differential equations was my downfall, as far as it took me 3 attempts to take a class of differential equations before I passed it, because I didn't understand it. And not until I had an instructor who explained it, what I was doing. I knew what to do, but I didn't know why. That's what bothered me. But I finally passed it. Topology and modern algebra, I took a class, or opened up a book on what's called modern algebra once, and I closed it shut, and I said, oh no, not now, maybe never. There's also the social sciences. Anthropology, which is the study of man. Archaeology, we all know what that is, due thanks to, what's his face? Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, yeah, so we all know what archaeology is. Economics. Economics is actually considered a social science. The dismal science, as it's called. If you ever have to take an economics class, I feel for you. I've taken 3 at the college level, most boring subject classes I ever took. Political science, cracks me up, because most politicians are anything but scientific. But it is classified as a social science. And of course you have sociology, which is the study of interaction, and of course psychology. Once again, I could have filled in another whole table, or like this, with just all the subdivisions of psychology. So these all interplay though. They really, really do. They're all independent. They're independent and they're all dependent on each other. But the thing is, metaphysics is actually a philosophy. If you've ever taken a philosophy course, and I have, at the college level, several. I actually took, and so was logic. Oh, by the way, I took a logic course. It's actually, a lot of people think it's a math course. It isn't. It's actually, you'll find at most colleges, it's under philosophy. But it's actually a philosophy class. Now, most philosophy classes are, they're not provable, so to speak. And metaphysics is kind of that way. It's thinking above and beyond. You will take classes in philosophy. They'll, does God exist or doesn't he? Or is there a supreme being or isn't there? Why do people suffer? That's often the kind of classes you get with philosophy. Well, metaphysics falls under that category, but it tries to explain the nature of existence. It doesn't try to explain why we are here. what can? I guess maybe that's for religions to answer. But what is, it's just the nature of existence. Um, we are here, but what does that entail? And the largest division of metaphysics is called ontology, which is the study of the nature of being, existence, and reality. That's what I'm referring to. In that, when I say it is more, we're here, but how is it that, where does consciousness come from? I myself am made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So is my wife. So is my supporting cast of the canines. Where does this consciousness come from? Why is it? Where is it? This is the kind of question that we're going to try to answer. No, I don't even know. We're going to come up with theories. We're going to, come up with ideas. Are they provable? No. Let's try to disprove them. And there is the rub. I have really believed in the old saying that if you cannot disprove something beyond the shadow of a doubt, you must at least take into consideration the possibility that it exists. So I think we're going to end this on that, and we'll start with some ideas shortly as to where does consciousness come from. Not so much to answer why we're here. Once again, that's for more or less religions to answer. But by the way, I've been also reading, and there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last few months. There are some really major discoveries that are going to be announced soon. I've been hearing as far as the nature of reality that are going to be very mind blowing and are going to upset religions a lot. And here's something for you to consider as far as the nature of reality. I read also recently that I mentioned that the fact that about our existence is mainly a hologram. This is one of the things they're making going to be making announcements on before too long. And the fact is, if most atoms, as we talked about before, most atoms are mostly space, nothing. But here's the fact. If you take every atom, every molecule, every proton, every electron that's in your body and compress it to a point where there is no space between them, you would be no bigger than a grain of sand. But you're not. And that's the kind of stuff we're going to try to address in the next few shows. With that, like us on Facebook, and we'll see you next time.